Hey, welcome to Discovering More. We're talking today about the book of Revelation and specifically how Revelation informs our walk with Christ, our discipleship path. We often think about the weird images, the visions and the beasts and the angels and the plagues and all this stuff. But there's something else. There's a lot of other things going on as we've identified in this series, Mark. But this last week we focused on how Revelation can help inform our spiritual walk.
So there's one image that you used in the message this weekend that I thought was worth our conversation about, and that caught my imagination anyway, which is to hear the music.
Yeah, so like I said in my message, I'm not somebody who spends a lot of time in Revelation. It's not. Now I am a creative person and all this kind of stuff, but it's never been something that I've spent a lot of time with. So for me, what was really profound was to just sit with where things are happening. And when I noticed, because my first few times reading through Revelation 14, I didn't even really realize that the song was beginning in heaven and being heard by the saints on earth. So processing that linearly, for me, it's like, there's got to be something to that only the 144,000 can learn the song. It's like, well, duh, it's starting in heaven. And so we hear what we want to hear. We all have selective hearing, don't we? And we have the opportunity to hear the music from heaven, which is what Revelation captured. So as you mentioned that, I was thinking about the Chronicles of Narnia. The first book is what? The Magician's Nephew? It's been a while since you've read the Chronicles of Narnia.
It's been a long time.
Well, anyways, he finds himself in Narnia as creation is happening. And what I'm pretty sure happens, it's been a while since I've read the first one, is that Aslan is singing a song. And as Aslan's singing a song, everything is coming to life. And so the power of the song in the scriptures is that the song is the song of joy, the song of victory, and the song that's sung on the other side of the battle. We're on this side of the battle, and there's no singing when you're going, you don't sing on the front lines. You don't sing when you're under attack. But the song is coming from the other side of the sea, which is that the Red Sea imagery, where Moses is there camped on the one side, and then they make it through, and then on the other side, that's the first recorded song in the scriptures, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So for John to pull that forward for us and say, the song of Moses is what they're singing. The song of Moses is, as you kind of put together this series, celebrate the triumph of God. The song of Moses is celebrating that God has triumphed, and that song is now making its way back to the other side of the sea, where we haven't experienced the victory, where life still kind of sucks at times, where cancer is still a reality, where
the temperatures are 20 below zero, whatever.
It doesn't get any better. But yeah, it's so seeing the role then of music in our lives. I think music is something that everyone appreciates. I mean, just look at the streaming platforms that have developed. One of the weird things is there's no more sense of shared music. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I kind of grieve that, actually, because my generation had that we all kind of knew this. We had the same music, and you could talk about lyrics and songs and so on, but now it's difficult.
The wild thing that I've noticed is that the songs that they continue to play are the old songs. There's no new songs with staying power. And part of that is that all of us have built our own playlists, and we all have our own thing that we're listening to. So the only thing that they can refer back to then is the music from the early 2000s or the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the songs that they're still carrying us through.
I just thought that the music of the 70s was just better. But you're probably right, though, that there are just so many platforms and so many different genres of music now that but maybe people still long for something that we all share together, a song.
And that's, we can say is one of the values of like the hymnal or traditional worship is that these songs have been curated. They're the best of the best. We don't really think about it, but there's hundreds of hymns that never made the cut, that didn't get pushed forward. So the challenge I think we face in the church too is that where's the music of our time in the broader church? What music has staying power in the church that's helping capture the hearts and the spirits of the people today? Because so often we just have people relying on the oldies, the hymns from yesterday and 300 years ago to continue to carry us through. But we need to put to song, our times as well.
Right,
we need to leave
absolutely.
Otherwise, what's going to happen in 500 years if Jesus doesn't come back? They're like, well, what happened in the 1900s and the 2000s? There's zero hymns from those time.
I think there are a few good ones that have surfaced that I think will have staying power. But yeah, a lot of it is maybe only very limited decade, even less than that, where it really connects. But can I take us in a different direction?
Yes, please do.
Beyond literal, listening to music. I was asking the question, I asked first for myself, how am I hearing the divine music?
Yeah.
As I go through, each day. And it reminded me of a book, Spiritual Pathways by Gary Thomas, where he talks about different ways that we connect with God. And it seems to me for me, I hear the music when I'm intentionally engaging in those things that are just, this helps me to sense God's presence or to hear His truth. And so being out in nature, which is a little difficult right now, is one of them. Study, I think, relationships, and actually literal music is important to me as well. So for those of you that feel like you really have trouble sensing that God is there, or to use the words, hear the music, invite you to check out Spiritual Pathways and see if God's melody isn't actually more present than what you thought it was.
Yeah, well, and maybe it's worth pointing out, like, we as a staff every Monday, we do a staff devotion, and we use that. When I first came to Peace, we were walking through that. So taking that time to think through, so we have music, we have outdoors, we have reflection, was like just writing things down.
Yeah, well, I think there's prayer life, there's study, I know was one.
Like just pulling out your Bible, really reading and getting intense into some of that. There's a lot of different ways for us to, but the big thing is we got to turn on the radio to hear the music. How are we tuning in?
Right.
We have to set the dial to hear the music, and so we can't just expect God to show up and speak to us. Just the other day I was like, God, please just speak to me miraculously in a dream. I need to hear from you. I was like, yeah. Well, we have His Word. He doesn't need to give dreams. We have something more easy to understand.
Yeah.
His Word. It's near us in our mouth, in our hearts. So. Yeah, how are you hearing the music? Because the victory's been won. If you believe in Jesus, you believe the victory's been won. So live like it. Today and tomorrow, forever. That's the path of, it's simple to say, it's really hard to do. But that's our walk. And if you need some encouragement, whoa, whoa, listen to the music. Sorry, I had to do it. Hope this has been helpful for you. Look forward to tuning in next week to discovering more.
Have a great week.